There we go. It's amazing what happens when you hit the wrong button. Not the first time that's happened. It won't be the last. Thursdays with Niko on a Friday, and it is 11:30 out on the West Coast. Niko will be joining us in just a second from the Soccer Bar and Pulso Sports, and we will get his takes from a Pacific Coast perspective on everything that's been going on. We've got some news out of Major League Soccer. We've got some signings. We have schedule release date that has been posted. And you now have the dates and location for the Club World Cup. We'll catch up with Niko about that. February 1st through 11th in Morocco. And so we'll see if Niko has enough frequent flyer miles and points to be able to go to Morocco and catch up with the Seattle Sounders as they continue their tour. The first chance that they have to represent Major League Soccer, representing CONCACAF in a worldwide competition. That's going to be fun. We've got, like I said, we've got news in and around Major League Soccer. Obviously, we want to catch up with Niko and compare notes with him with needs and wants and desires for Seattle as they continue to let everybody know that they are indeed a team to be reckoned with when it comes to the Western Conference here coming up in 2023. Looking forward to, obviously, the schedule release coming up on Tuesday, and we'll dissect that with Niko later in the week as we get closer to Christmas and all of the stuff that's going on in Major League Soccer. With signings, the biggest one that came today as we are looking at things, Matt Hedges is heading to Toronto. And they need all the defensive help they can get, and getting Matt Hedges is a big pickup for them at the back. RSL has re-signed Marcelo Silva. CF Montreal has re-signed James Pantemis. And so it's interesting look there. You've got Portland Timbers in the market looking for a addition at center forward. Danish number 9, Kasper Junker, for they're in a deal possibly to acquire him from Urawa Reds in the J League. And so we'll catch up with him on that. And without any further ado, it's Niko Moreno, Soccer Bar. What is up, my friend?
What is up, my man? Happy to see you.
Yeah.
It's a good week. You know, we got a lot of soccer to talk about. We got a dream final. I don't know if the dream final in the World Cup, but we're excited to have it.
All right, so I know I want to get into MLS and Seattle and other things as we get into the second half of the show. But since the World Tournament that you and I both know about, it is down to the final 2 matches. I will stipulate from the absolute beginning that I had Argentina coming out of the left-hand side of the bracket. I have them winning the whole thing because I want the fairy tale involving Lionel Messi. I think I had France. I don't remember. It's been so long ago that I actually filled out my bracket and left it alone. I'm one of those guys that sits there, fills it out in pen, and puts it away. I'm not one that's going to sit there and do 3 different versions. What was your final when you first filled out your bracket?
Unfortunately, it was Argentina, Uruguay. I wanted an all-out South American final. I thought Uruguay was going to I think they were due for having one of those extraordinary teams that had a good mix of veteran players and young talents, but some just did not come to play, as if the case of Nunez. And because of that, they were bounced out and quite a huge disappointment. But Argentina, I'm with you. I had them winning the ship. I wish that I would have had put a little bit of money in the juice boxes, and I didn't. By the time I wanted to, it was already too late, and those odds had dropped dramatically. And so it's just exciting to watch the best player that I've seen in the last 10, 15 years come to his final dance, his final World Cup, and be in the final as not just as the name guy, but as the engine, the creator, someone who has been incredibly influential on and off the field for this squad. So it's exciting to see.
Well, and what you have in Argentina is you have a group that is playing for Lionel Messi, and they understand the idea of their own responsibilities. The other 10 folks out there understand their responsibilities defensively, and then on offense, getting the ball to Leo, so when Leo Messi can turn the key on the ignition and knows it's time to start that engine, it's time to go. It's a definite difference, and we were getting into this last week, earlier in the week, when we were talking about the difference between playing with someone and playing for someone. And in Portugal, you are forced to play with Cristiano Ronaldo, and it is a black hole offensively when you're having to play with Cristiano Ronaldo. When you're playing for Lionel Messi, there's an entirely different mindset and approach that's there, and you're seeing the difference in playing for someone and with someone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's even particular differences when it comes to playing for somebody, because sometimes when you play for somebody, you're also forcing the ball to them. You're expecting them to just give them the ball, and they got to do absolutely everything. I think the difference between this Argentina team, away from the one that got to that final in 2014, is that Lionel Messi they were playing for him, but he was the one that they were waiting for to do absolutely everything. And there was nobody else in that final third that was going to put the ball away, that had the confidence to do things in a manner that would result in a win. I feel like this year, yes, they're playing for him, but in a whole different way. They're working harder defensively to make sure that he doesn't have to get back farther. They're allowing him to strategically walk the field in specific times of the game and then explode into a run, because that's the way they're playing. And whenever he does have the ball, there is quality players like Julian Alvarez that is confident, that has that product and the ability to just finish off a ball, and something that he didn't have in the past. Before, it was Messi, and that's it. It's kind of like the basketball game where you feed Kobe and you ISO and you wait for him to run his game. No, this team is differently. They really wait for him to create that disbalance, to pull in defenders, but then everybody else is moving with the confidence that they're going to be able to put things away. So I agree with you. They are playing for him. And I think the biggest difference between Leo and Cristiano, it is a little bit of that Lionel Messi, by the way he plays the game, is more used to the collective rather than a Cristiano that's more individually trying to either beat you on the one-on-one, get the headers, shoot mid-range. I think that part of the creativity of Lionel Messi makes him a player that's more looking forward to a collective unit helping him out. And it's really worked out. Credit goes to Scaloni for everything that he's done with this team and really brought that group together. And he's been strategically right every single game, and that's put Leo and the rest of these players in the position and with the tools to be successful.
Can we put all this stuff to bed about Leo Messi and walking? Have you seen that stuff? Oh, Leo's walking. He's not in it. He's not in whatever the subsequent trailing sentences are. But the whole Leo Messi and walking thing.
People don't realize that when Leo walks, he walks strategically. Of course, he's measuring his runs. He's measuring his ability to do certain things, but no movement on the field for Lionel Messi ever goes without a second thought behind it. If he's walking to the specific side of the field, he's already thinking where he's going to sprint to next. And he catches people off guard. I've seen him in Barcelona before, kind of feel like he's touching his knee and touching his a leg, and all of a sudden he makes a sprint, he makes a run. He just has that ability to, if you're not thinking that the best player in the planet is in the game 90 minutes, and if not 100, 5 minutes before, 5 minutes after, then you have no idea who Lionel Messi is. So yes, he does a little bit of walking, but he's all strategically, and it has worked for him.
And also, it's been great to see Enzo, and Jason has been focusing on Enzo ever since Defensa y Justicia, as a part of the network, and seeing Enzo get his time in the sun, seeing Julian Alvarez, where those of us in this hemisphere knew about Julian Alvarez, and everybody in England, oh no, a South American. What is this South American doing in Manchester City? Oh, he can't be up there with the British and England players and all the Europeans. No, it can't quite. We're fine. Everybody else is finally sitting there and getting to see the kind of player that Julian Alvarez is also.
Yeah, let's talk about the supporting cast, man, because the team wouldn't be here if he didn't have that. Enzo Fernandez is a guy that I thought that it was ludicrous that he wasn't starting. It took him 2 games to show Scaloni that he had to be the number one guy in that position, whether it was right next to the Paul or Paredes or however he was lining up. He was going to be that guy in the midfield, and he showed up to play, man. He just has vision. He's very balanced. He's physical, and he has the ability to finish some shots, right? And I feel I would like him to give himself more of those opportunities. But whenever Enzo is right on top of the 18 or he's got a shot, I mean, he's either going to go on frame, on a post, or on the back of the net. So he's just an exciting player. Julian Alvarez is a very mobile striker that it understands exactly what he needs to do to fit in right next to Leo Messi, do that dirty work. He is the first defender of that formation, and he does it fantastically. Even when you don't see what Julian is doing because he's not scoring, like the Netherlands game, he is just pressuring. He's moving. He's not the biggest guy, and these European teams are pretty big, but he's in there just relentlessly trying to get the ball. His movement off the ball is amazing. I was surprised by it because I thought Lautaro Martinez, this was his World Cup to just show up and show everybody the talent that he has, because he does have it. But Julian has been absolutely amazing, relentless. Scaloni trusts him. And again, I cannot reiterate enough. Those strikers that are willing to put in that dirty work, that extra ability to defend, to get off the ball, just changes the whole dynamic. And he's been that for sure.
Because, of course, if you're not European, if you're not British and you're playing in the Premier League, obviously you're not quite the talent that you're supposed to be, and you're supposed to be held in lesser regard if you're a player like Julian Alvarez. Come on, Niko. You can't seriously believe that someone like a Julian Alvarez. I'm sure that's probably how a lot of some of the talk show hosts said No.
That's a very good British accent. I mean, I'm just waiting for you to damn me for dancing after a goal.
Yeah, now you're not supposed to celebrate that way, Niko. You know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to act like you've been there before. You're supposed to sit there and hand the ball. Perhaps let the goalkeeper hand the ball back to the center ref, and so everything goes back to center circle. So you start over again. Has nothing to do with celebrations. Come on, young man. But so are you looking? I mean, and the point that Nick and Jarrett and I have been making on the morning show. I think France is susceptible at the back. I think they can be had, especially with the speed and the desire and what we're seeing, the artistry of Lionel Messi. I mean, the third goal against Croatia should give you enough knowledge to sit there and go, dude is ridiculous and thinks dude's doing Vulcan chess and the rest of us are doing checkers. I mean, that's the bottom line. But I think France can be had at the back. I think that goals will be scored just because of the ability of both front lines. But I still think that Argentina gets it done by the time we're done.
I think so too, and I think that's something we hope. But it will be a chess match. That is my very first thought on this particular game. I think you saw from Argentina and Scaloni what those first 32 minutes of the Croatia game was, where maybe Croatia was getting more on the ball and Argentina was trying to figure out how the game was going to play out. They weren't going to give anything to Croatia in that midfield because they have very defensive-minded midfielders. Fernandez, DePaul, Paredes, even McAllister has a great sense of defense. So I think we're going to see a little bit of that in this one. the matchups will get me really excited because what I think Argentina will do is try to take away the flanks completely.
Okay.
That's where Mbappe is at his best. That's where he's more comfortable. Dembele might not have that final product and that extra final shot or pass, but he is definitely fast to get into prime positions. So because of how Argentina has been playing, where Molina gets forward as much as he does, you don't want to be having the Paul chasing after a Mbappe that's got 20 yards on you, 10 yards on you, 5 yards on you, because that's just a race you're not going to win. So because of that, I think it's going to be a little bit of a chess match. But at the end of the day, it's going to come out into a collective unit in Argentina that I believe understands how to read games. They've been through the tougher games. Other than that England game where France was maybe outplayed and they still got the result, I think Argentina has had to do more to get to where they are. And I think that resiliency and that ability to adapt to bad situations usually shines in the World Cup final. And that's why I have Argentina winning this game.
Now let's go to the third place game, and it's a different animal. And the head coach for Morocco basically said it's like winning the booby prize. But at the same time, you want to finish. You want to finish on the stand. You want to get that third place. It is a different dog playing in a third place game. What are you expecting with Croatia and Morocco?
A great atmosphere for one. I think the Morocco fans need to be praised for what they've made out of this World Cup. I mean, they've been so powerful, so supportive. You hear them in absolutely every game. But on the pitch, I think you're going to see a Croatia team that is going to dominate possession. You won't see a flip of roles the way you saw in that France-Morocco game, where I don't know if it was by design or by the fact that France got a goal within the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game, but I wasn't expecting Morocco to be the one that handled possession and the one that was continuously pushing forward. But in Soccer Bar with John Rojas, who's a colleague of mine, he made me believe that perhaps it was set by design. If I know that Morocco is a great defensive team and they're used to countering and they pride themselves in transition, that maybe if I let them have the ball, they'll be more uncomfortable with it. And I think that's what you saw here. France was pragmatic. If France was the one that was trying to bust out in those transition moments, they certainly got the speed for it, and they were able to make it count. So I think in this one, you'll see more of the same role that we've seen from Morocco, where Amrabat is that perfect midfielder that's getting back and forth, that's pushing the ball forward. I want to see Enesiri more involved in the game. I think I saw a stat where he only had like 6 touches after the first 70 minutes of the game. He needs to be more involved, certainly in the game. I want to see more of Hakimi getting inside those inside channels. I think that that's when Morocco was at its finest in this France game. Whenever they were able to get Hakimi inside and Sishits outside, they really created problems for France. So I think you might see a little bit of that in this game. But I expect Morocco to actually win this game. I think Croatia has been fantastic. Luka Modric is absolutely genius. One of the best you could say ever, top 10 certainly in his position, and he's been fantastic. But I do believe that this Morocco team has just a different fight in that dog that they are. I mean, they have it a little bit different, and they really understand how to expose teams. And I think that they might do it against Croatia, because you saw what happened to Croatia once Argentina started finding those pockets of space and they were able to get up in transition. I mean, that goal by Julian Alvarez, I mean, he runs the entirety of the field. Did he get a little lucky on the bounce? Sure. But, that's the luck of the champ. Sometimes it just tends to happen. But you got to be able and willing to do that. And that counter pressing from Croatia is what really let me down. When they were losing the ball, usually they're first to just contain that new ball handler. They didn't do it in this game.
And I think that if you have not seen Serie A with Amrabat, and the kind of individual that he is. Of course, now Spurs are interested to the tune of about $50 million if Antonio Conte gets his way. But the tackle on Mbappe was a thing of beauty. And the number of photographs that have been published from that sequence where Amrabat tracks him down and tackle just a gorgeous piece of work from Sofiane Amrabat about the kind of defender. If the world didn't know about Amrabat and about the Moroccans, they certainly found out about them in this tournament.
Oh, they know it. I mean, he was so good. He has to be in your best 11 out of this World Cup. I mean, my son didn't know who this guy was. And, we had an idea because we watched the game a little bit in a bigger global scale. He's your average 15, 16-year-old that doesn't get out of La Liga or the Premier Championship. The Premier League. And so he's like, who's this bald guy? He's the man. He's that engine. I mean, you saw him everywhere. He's not afraid to get forward or defend. He understands the game very well. He doesn't look incredibly fast, but he has acceleration. His explosiveness from, your first grabbing the ball to his top speed is substantial. So he understands and knows what are his abilities, and he honestly commands this team in a way that I don't know if anybody else could. But yeah, definitely one of the top players I've seen this World Cup.
All right, we had this group of questions this morning on the show. Tournament MVP, goal of the tournament, match of the tournament. I think you and I can agree that Messi is the tournament MVP.
You would think correctly.
Goal of the tournament.
Richarlison, and that little half volley, media chalaca, I don't know what you'd call it, but yeah, I thought it was beautiful. Just the entire play from Vini, and then the way he gets that first touch is completely not perfect, so he's got to use that resource, the connect on the ball to the shot. I mean, it's a thing of beauty. I would stick with that one for sure.
Match of the tournament.
The match of the tournament?
Mm-hmm.
Oof, that's a tough one.
Well, we had a couple of contenders this morning, and most of them were the crazy shootouts, especially in the last day of the group stage, where all hell broke loose.
Yeah, I was thinking the first come to mind is Netherlands, Argentina, but I feel like I'm being very biased to one country. But that's the game that comes to mind to me because of the way it played out. Because you thought that the Netherlands were out and about, and then they kind of changed their way of play, start playing direct. They get one, they get two. There's all this animosity on the field. It's got a little bit of chippiness. I mean, it felt amazing. I thought that's the game that comes to mind for me.
Switzerland, Serbia, last day of the group stage, the 3-2.
That's a good one.
Germany, Costa Rica, the 4-2 game where Costa Rica had the lead and was in to the knockouts for a while, but then it all fell apart for them in the second half. You had the two games on the 28th of November, the 3-2 Ghana, South Korea match, and the 3-3 craziness with Cameroon and Serbia in group stage. That was one that was posted as well. And Portugal and Ghana, Portugal 3-2 back around Thanksgiving. Those were some of the ones that were submitted this morning for match of the tournament.
Yeah, those were all good. That Costa Rica Germany game, I mean, that was exciting as it gets, but just the level of play also, was not great from Costa Rica. They were trying to, with their own limitations, trying to get into that game, and I think that they felt that they could do it. Obviously, it didn't work out that way. Germany ends up doing what they were hoping to do, even though they didn't get past the group phase. But yeah, that was a good game. It was a good game. The South Korea game was also very good. But yeah, if I had to say, because of the stakes, because of everything that came with the dramatism behind that last goal by the Netherlands, where is this perfectly designed set piece in a set piece I'd never seen before. The way he kind of came off, grabbed it, puts it away. For me, it has to be that Netherlands Argentina game.
All right, we'll catch up next week, and we'll put a bow on the competition to determine the world's best overseas. Coming back here domestically for the remainder of the show, have you booked your travel plans to Morocco yet?
No, I have not. Definitely will not be going. I was hoping that it was going to be in the States. Next year is a little bit convoluted for me, so I won't be doing much traveling. I got some family stuff that I got to take care of, both in Mexico and Colombia. So I definitely will not be going to Morocco. But I'm excited that we have a location. I had kind of said earlier that I think it was Diario As that had reported that it could potentially be in Dubai. They didn't get the location right, but they got the dates right from the 1st to the 11th. This means that the Seattle Sounders, as expected, are going to be very early back at Starfire, early January, trying to figure out how to prepare these guys, get them ready for a quick but important tournament. I mean, this Club World Cup, a lot of people are like, well, it's just about going. It's about just kind of showing up, and that's what it's about. Nobody's giving them a chance. No. You got to get out there. You got to be competitive. You got to play to win every single game. I really know that the front office is doing a lot of moving behind the cameras to make sure that they can add a couple of pieces so they can have a better chance in this one. So I'm excited to see it.
Schedule release is set for Tuesday. Major League Soccer season begins February 25th. Basically, if the Seattle Sounders made it to the final of the Club World Cup in Morocco, it would be then 2 weeks of flying back over the Atlantic and getting ready for the Major League Soccer season. St. Louis City. I feel like every time we talk St. Louis, I have to emphasize the word city because it's in all caps. St. Louis City acquired Samuel Adeniran from Seattle, did some great work for San Antonio in USL Championship, helping them out to win a title. Tommy Scoops, in his analysis of the Western Conference, and I wanted to get your thoughts to see, compare, contrast, what the thought pattern was that Seattle, the folks that Tom Bogert thought they needed another left back. And his explanation was this: still have their entire on-field CCL winning core together. The squad is largely set, probably isn't a ton of room for big changes. Any significant incoming or need for significant incoming would probably be in reaction to a player leaving. Outside of that, a natural option behind Nuhu at left back would be very useful, particularly one that offers something more going forward. How would you look at Tommy Scoop's assessment? Are you okay?
I am okay. I did not have this thing pried correctly in the holder, and I got a phone call, and it
vibrated it off the base.
It absolutely did. It absolutely did. I'm sorry. Could you repeat that for me?
No. I just want to make sure that you're okay and the electronics are okay more than anything.
Yeah, they're good. They're good.
Just needs for Seattle in the offseason. Tommy Scoops, Tom Bogert thought maybe another left back to help out or sliding Nuhu over to that position. What do you think?
That is something that I said prior to right after actually the end of the season. We did a kind of a roundtable thing here for 99.3 KJR. And yes, that's one of the positions that they are looking for: a second striker, another striker, despite Freddie Montero just re-signing with the team. But left back's a big one because of the formation, the width that you hope your fullbacks to get from here, and the fact that I think Nuhu could be moved to either another position, or they could just move away from him all around. He played every minute for Cameroon. He has been marketed in the past. I think that there is interest from teams for a player like Nuhu. Jimmy Medranda, regardless, is gone. He's actually getting a lot of looks in South America. He's someone that I think would also have a lot of marketing here in MLS, within MLS. So I don't foresee him coming back. So with all that said, from depth all the way to needing a starter, I do think that the Seattle Sounders are looking for another left back. Nuhu has kind of taken on this role of a defensive specialist, a lockdown, and as attributes to what he does. But in that ability to get forward, that final third ability to get good services in, although he's gotten better, he's worked at it. I don't know if he's the guy that is going to be prolific specifically in those roles, in those assignments. So I do believe that they're looking for someone else. I got a couple of leads, and hopefully I'll be able to bring some stuff to you. If not for the next show that we're on, maybe after that. But I'm already saying a lot. This I haven't even tweeted, but yes, Jimmy Medranda is getting a lot of looks in South America specifically, and I do think that there is interest in the center back group entirely for the Seattle Sounders. I'm talking Yeimar, I'm talking Javi. I don't see Yeimar leaving. That's your franchise center back. He's not going nowhere unless somebody's trying to pay you a whole lot of dough.
Mm-hmm.
But, Javier Arriaga is someone that there is interest for within MLS. So if you can move him and you already have Jackson Reagan and Javier and Yeimar Gomez Andrade, then you might be okay. And maybe you bring somebody else in to kind of fit in depth. So a lot of movements could be happening for this team, this squad. But yes, left back is a position of need.
And a couple of the greatest hits that have been going on in the league over the last little bit. Earlier today, Toronto FC reached an agreement with Matt Hedges. They need all the help at the back they can get, so they brought him in as a free agent from his time at FC Dallas. Timbers looking to add a center forward. They might be shopping in the J League. Chivas in advanced talks with Charlotte FC for forward Daniel Rios, close to being finalized. They were chasing after Brandon Vasquez at FC Cincinnati to the tune of about $7 million. FCC said no. AEK looks like they're chasing after Benji Kikanovic from San Jose. Orlando's chasing after talent in Uruguay at Nacional for Franco Fagundes. Their first bid got rejected. And the interesting stuff out of NYCFC, the possibility that Maxi Morales might be heading to Racing Club. That came from Cesar Luis Merlo earlier this week. Interesting stuff around the league.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of movement. And when you talk about a guy like Maxi, that I think he's done everything he can to make NYCF City a team that's not only relevant, but a champion. And so he did. Now, at his age, and if he's trying to end his career in Argentina, I think that's a primary spot for him. I really like a lot of the movements that have been done recently as well, like Cabral moving down to Colorado. I think that was a masterful move by the LA Galaxy. So, all those situations just tell me that the ambition of clubs in MLS has gotten even higher. And everybody's trying to get an edge, whether it's clearing some cap space or trying to undo some mistakes from maybe guys you thought were going to be better than they were. And also, trying to find that mix of not having to pay a transfer fee and just getting guys within MLS, like Andres Perea to Philadelphia. That's another good one for me. I think that's a good move for both parties, both for Philadelphia and for Andres, who I don't think he had a lot of room in Orlando City. So, yes, it is exciting to see. I think we're going to have a lot more of that. Wilfred Nancy going to Columbus is interesting as well for me. We don't talk a lot about coaches, but, hey, you know what? That was a guy who did a lot of great things with small cap space, a sometimes dysfunctional organization, and now, an organization that I think selling a lot. I feel like they're selling a lot of those great players, which is unfortunate because they were so good last season. So kind of interested to see how they're going to cope with so many guys out.
And last question on the board comes from one of our folks, couple of our folks, and they're having a conversation about Miles Robinson. And thought is any reason to be concerned that Miles Robinson isn't under contract, under an extension. They're feeling out the market, but it's less than optimal. And then you're looking at right now, you're just looking at negotiations and the notion of waiting until you want to get something done as soon, obviously, as possible. And obviously before the season, you want to do something like that. But in the case of any talent, you want to make sure that you get something done when it comes to an extension up to 6 months before, because then that way they can sign pre-contracts, work their ways on a free. So right now you're still in that part of the calendar where you're okay, but you want to do something between now and whenever 6 months comes up so you don't lose any kind of bargaining leverage. That's the key with really any particular folks. But folks in our timeline in the Twitch pitch were asking about Miles Robinson in particular. But you want to make sure that you get something done before the 6 month window or before the season starts. I understand, and it's the holiday season too, so I don't anticipate a whole lot going on from the holidays unless you want to give somebody a good Christmas present.
Absolutely, but I think that'll get done. I mean, Miles is just too talented for you to just let him go on a free, basically. I mean, you don't want that timeline to expire. You do want to lock him in, whether he's going to be a constant contributor and once again a starter. And, one of the I think when it comes to the center back position, one of the guys with the highest ceiling and potential in the league, you don't want to let that go just because, right? Unless there's some sort of insecurities about his injuries or, concerns about that. I mean, he should be a no-brainer lockdown. I don't see him going out. He's highly regarded from front office. Also, Gonzalo Pineda, someone who really likes him. And center back is some sort of a big pillar for what Gonzalo tries to do because the center backs are the first one touching the ball out of the back. They also have the responsibilities when they are pressing high with those high lines. And I think Miles is the perfect center back for what Gonzalo Pineda would like to do, or as I like to think that I know what he likes to play. So, yeah, I would definitely think Miles is going to be locked in for a multi-year contract.
All right, so what's going on at Soccer Bar, Pulso Sports, and Niko Moreno as we go steaming toward the holiday season?
Well, on Monday, we'll have what I think is going to be our last show of 2022. And we're going to have a final talk about what was the World Cup. We've gotten into a little bit of the Gio Reyna, Berhalter stuff, what's in for the U.S. Men's national team. So go check it out. Our last two shows have been really, really good. And then we're going to go ahead and finish strong after the final and give our final takes on what it was. On Pulso Sports, we're going to be doing a reel of some of our best interviews throughout the year. So, check that out. And like that, you can get more familiar with the work that we have. I'm hoping to open up a couple of spaces just to thank everybody for the support that they've given us this year. We're hoping to get better in 2023. This year has been a little bit difficult, a lot of movements within us. A lot of guys have left, some have come. So we're going to try to explain to you guys why you should continue to follow Pulso and Soccer Bar.
What he said. Niko Moreno, as always, my friend, great to catch up with you. Thursdays with Niko on a Friday, and we will do it again next week, probably on Friday. And get ready because we're going to do Christmas stuff. We'll talk about Christmas and Christmas gifts and all that kind of stuff in addition to all the other movement. And we got a game to talk about, actually 2 games to talk about next week. So thank you again, my friend, and we will catch up next week.
All righty, boss. Have a good one.
What he said. May you do that too. We'll come back on Monday, 9:05 Eastern for Soccer Down Here. For Niko, I'm John. Played safe, everybody. Oh, enjoy the Rave Green mug. He's ready. That's got to be Cup 3. Talk to you soon.